Greetings, everyone. As you can see by this pile of boxes and all sort of containers, we are preparing to move houses, which is going to happen in a few weeks' time. But nevertheless, it's time to, unfortunately, shut down this beautiful Riparium shallow tank, which we have in here. I could have done it last moment, but I will already have to shut down our other larger tank in bedroom as a last moment sink. So I would prefer to have this tank prepared for the move in advance, so there's no rush and there's no stress with relocating the fish and the tank. So basically, yeah, it absolutely breaks my heart to shut down this tank. Look at this fern, it's just so massive, and all of the plants are doing so great in this tank. There's actually two different ferns in here. This is a Boston or sword fern, and this is some other fern. I can't remember its name, but they're actually growing perfectly well together. So I'm not going to throw away these plants. By all means, I'm going to replant both of these ferns into this kind of a pots, so they will be potted in soil for a certain period of time while we are moving houses, and later on I will use them in some of my repairing projects. There's also a really beautiful Christmas moss growing on driftwood, which I'm planning to keep, as well as this anthurium plant, which is kind of a blossoming and doing really great, and this calathea plant. There's also a parlor palm or areca palm growing in the back, but it's not doing too well, but I can't really see it, what's happening to it. In any case, these 3 4 plants, I'm going to add them into this kind of a plastic container. I'm going to put some soil on the bottom, some compost, and maybe some sphagnum moss as well, and I'm going to kind of grow them temporarily in this highly moist environment. Obviously, without water, they will be growing in soil. I will add some LED lamp on top, so they will have extra light, and I will transport them this way. I don't really have enough pots in order to plant them in pots, and I know that they're actually going to do better in a really humid environment, such as this box with a lid where there is no air actually. So they should really enjoy this environment, as well as all of the moss. I also have some moss on the window sill. We have here this small moss farm in here. I showed you it in one of the previous videos. This is actually a mixture of Christmas moss and regular Java moss, and it's growing kind of immersed without water. Well, there is some water on the bottom, but most of it is just growing, enjoying this moisture within this container. I will move this moss as well into this larger container. So that's a plan for today. I'm really sorry to actually break this tank apart, because I really enjoyed this project, and this particular shallow project, unheated shallow South American biotop style aquarium, actually inspired me to create a much larger similar shallow tank. So this is a bit of a spoiler, but I've ordered a custom made tank. This is actually a huge tank. It's 160 centimeter long tank. It's 5.5 feet tank. And it's a shallow tank. You can see it's really wide. It's 2 feet wide, 60 centimeter wide, and 35 centimeter high, and relatively shallow tank. So yeah, this is essentially where I'm going to move my Riparium in the future, in a new place. And it will be hopefully a great project, because that's a much larger tank, and there will be so many opportunities to create really beautiful scape in that tank. So the plan is the following: to remove the plants, replant some of them into soil, some of them into the plastic box, catch the fish and move them all temporarily into my other tank, which has similar parameters, similar temperature. The other tank is a heated tank, and it has a temperature of about 25 degrees Celsius. This one is unheated tank, so it's at room temperature, and our current room temperature is about 23 degrees Celsius, because it's spring and it's getting warmer. So the temperature will not be too different between these two tanks, and water parameters are very similar. So, and there's not too many fish in here actually. There is a group of black neon tetras and some bloodfin tetras and three Sorpa tetras. So I will catch the fish and I will move them to that other tank, and I will transport them to the new house altogether. Yeah, there's also a filter in here. There's this canister filter in here, and I will clean it and I will move it to the other tank as well to just add extra filtration to that system. And that's it, actually, that's a plan. These are some natural bamboo sticks, and I've used them in my previous projects, and they're actually great. They've been staying in this tank underwater. Obviously you can see here the water level for more than half a year, and they haven't started decomposing, and they're quite firm and sturdy still. So yeah, I'm definitely going to use them in some other projects because they're great quality stuff, and they look natural, and they are actually natural bamboo sticks. Right, so this is Anthurium. It was actually growing okay, but probably not too well. So there's quite a lot of Christmas moss growing on its roots, which I will remove. So the ferns are absolutely massive. They kind of overgrown and intergrown together. These are two different ferns, but don't think I can disconnect them. They're definitely, yeah, it seems that they're a bit too large for this pot over there, so I'll have to figure out another solution. There are tons of Christmas moss growing on this lower parts. It was kind of growing immersed, and I will probably try to remove it together with some parts of this fern. So this is how it looks like without a fern. Yeah, this was an outflow pipe of the canister filter which pushed water through the roots of the fern, and the fern was growing mostly on top of this few pieces of driftwood. This is the parlor palm, and I can see that it was alright, but it actually wasn't doing too good. We'll see how its roots are looking like. Well, it actually looks healthy, very large root system, and there are some fresh growth on it. So these are the fish that we had in this tank. Quite a bunch of black neonus quite a bunch of black neon tetras, bloodfin tetras, and sorpo tetras. There are very few of them, so I will just add them straight away to the other tank. They're going to live in here. I switched off extra lights so that they are not too stressed out. And the water parameters are the same. I've checked them before, so they should be all right. So it's been about a week since we brought down that fish tank, and the fish from that tank have been moved in here, and they seem to be quite settled in here. So let's have a look how are they doing in here. Here's some black neon tetras and bloodfin tetras. There are actually not too many fish that I moved from there to here, so they don't look too noticeable in here. We're going to throw some food in a moment. There were also a few changes in this upper part of the Riparium. For example, we have removed some of the plants in here, such as bromeliads and philodendron and a few other plants, so it looks a bit empty at the moment. And also I've removed one of the LED lamps up there, so it's a bit dark as well. But yeah, so it's just in preparation of the move and just to make sure that these plants are staying in a different place and they're kind of ready to be moved. And this is a tank. It's now clean and empty, and I've added these styrofoam edges on its corners just to make sure that it doesn't get damaged during the moving. And yeah, so it's ready to be moved. So this is where all the plants are. This is just a basic plastic storage container from IKEA. I think it's a 80-liter container, and I've added a layer of compost, a layer of substrate on the bottom, and all of the plants are basically growing in this substrate. It's quite thick actually. There's a lot of condensation in there because this lid, it doesn't have holes in it, so it's quite moisture inside, and there's a lot of moisture in there, and this is what I want to achieve. And there is also an LED lamp on top, and it's working about 9 hours a day, so it provides enough light. Actually, the window is quite close, it's nearby, but still there is not enough direct light, so I think LED lamp is a necessary addition. This is how it looks like inside. Yeah, there's quite a few plants in here. It's a little bit overcrowded at the moment, but it's just temporary, just for a few weeks before we complete our move. There are some bromeliads in here all over the place, and there's one anthurium there, and calamia, and quite a lot of mosses, and also a little bit of fern. And yeah, they're kind of spread out all over the place, and I planted some of the fern, some of the mosses in substrate as they used to grow in my moss farm, and some of the mosses are actually used to be partly submerged, so they've dried up a bit, and yes, they just need to be sprayed with water more regularly, and I'm spraying them with water about once in a couple of days, but some of the moss requires more spraying. All of this moss is actually attached to the driftwood, so it just grows on driftwood. There's also a philodendron growing there, and some Spanish moss. And this is actually that large fern which was growing in a shallow riparium. I planted it into this pot with soil, and it seems to be doing well. Actually, it's been over a week, and there's no yellow leaves, and it's not dying. Also, apparently there is some fresh growth. Yeah, so this is a quite hardy plant. It seems to prosper both in water and outside of water. You can see there's some fresh leaves popping up, and it's a beautiful plant. I will use it in some of my riparium projects in a near future, hopefully.